Although you shouldn't be shocked that the legacy media in Canada is anti-conservative and pro-liberal, they're literally paid by the government, it is kind of shocking just how blatant it is sometimes. I find the Canadian legacy media tries to mostly just do subtle jabs at the conservatives. They play the story straight, but then you have somebody like a Lisa Laflamme as the host of the news who gives kind of little small snide remarks at whatever the conservative said or rolls her eyes. That's really what I always knew her as when she was still doing the news over at CTV. But in this case, CTV quite literally just edits federal Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre out of context to make it seem like he is trying to call a no confidence vote in the current Liberal government over universal dental. Although universal dental is not a very good program because it's a bloated program that is just going to dry up the amount of dental care being provided for very bad delivery for those who it's claiming to help. The thing is that the conservatives have been very consistent about the fact that they want to call the election over the carbon tax. Universal dental is a side issue. The conservatives have a problem with the way that the program is made. You could have universal dental for those underneath a certain income level where it makes sense, but just having it be fully universal when more than half of Canadians already have a dental plan, whether private or through work, that's another thing for another day. But I want to get to the way that CTV News had clipped this. So Sebastian Skamsky here does a really good job of breaking down what happened. He shows right here what the original context was for Pierre Poilievre's statement. It's this longer paragraph here with the three colored words. What above is shown as the three colored words side by side is what CTV News ended up clipping together. You can see there was a lot of words between what is highlighted here, but like CTV News, as silly as it seems, actually just put those three words back to back. He has the right here that we'll
That's
watch.
why it's time to put forward a motion for a carbon tax election.
That's the original context. Oops, sorry, that's
why
getting my way.
That's why we need to put forward a motion. That's why.
Sorry about this. Technical difficulties. This is what CTV News served up, which utterly shreds the entire context to make it seem like what he was saying is that they want to have a election over the dental care because that's what was previously being talked about during this CTV News segment.
That's why we need to put forward a motion.
So it just says that's why we need to put forward a motion, and then moving on to talking about putting forward a motion of non-confidence, removing the fact that it's over the carbon tax. They're just acting through their editing as if it is over the dental care proposal because that's what CTV News had just been talking about right before they played the full aid clip. And I find that even the media's own reaction to the conservatives reacting to being smeared has been very telling at how they all think. That when conservatives are being treated unfairly and they push back, it's actually Pierre Poilievre, like the CBC headline is indicating, lashing out. It says Poilievre lashes out at Bell Canada after CTV airs altered clip. No. It was they aired misinformation, if not disinformation, because you couldn't convince me that they weren't trying to alter the context to hurt Poilievre. Disinformation is when you are knowingly spreading information that is not correct. And that's what CTV News did. But no, it's Poilievre lashing out. He's lashing out at CTV News for altering a clip. It makes it sound like they might have just removed a single keyframe and that was it. Obviously, that wasn't what happened, but CTV News wants you to think that because they don't want to give any wins to the conservatives. You see this all the time, where whenever a conservative pushes back against an unfair question these days, they get accused of being, anti-journalist, anti-free speech. Oh, I can't believe the usually pro-free speech conservatives aren't letting journalists ask them questions. And they are, they just have a problem with the framing, because usually the framing is a lie. If the framing is off, it doesn't matter how you answer the question, you're going to look bad. It's the sort of, when did you stop beating your wife type of a question. That's exactly what people like Poilievre get asked all the time now. Oh, some people are saying that you're far right. What do you say to that accusation? Even if he denies it, the viewer is getting the impression, well, people are thinking this guy's far right. There must be something far right about him. Even though whenever Poilievre then asks, what have I done that's far right? How am I dog whistling to people? How am I a conspiracy theorist? They then fall apart because they don't have anything. They're just trying to inject those words into the conversation, because if the words float around in the conversation, you'll maybe, if you're not very well versed on the political situation, assume that there's some validity to it being brought up. That happens all the time. It's happening right now in British Columbia, where I am, where the NDP keep talking about crazy candidates or extreme candidates or weird candidates for the BC Conservatives. And they don't really cite any real examples. They'll take someone's tweets out of context from 5 years ago, or go after candidates who were already filtered out by the party and pretend that that is now indicative of the party overall, even though they have 93 candidates and they've only really gone after 2 of them, mostly completely unfairly at this point. Anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. I just wanted to comment on this story a little bit because I know a lot of people are talking about it. I saw so many people, when the Conservatives put out an email about this, were mocking them and saying that they're complaining, and this is just what happens when the Conservatives are nasty to journalists. The Conservatives didn't buy this for themselves in any way. It's the media who have always been like this. The media have been willing to take Andrew Scheer out of context and Aaron O'Toole as well, despite how liberal Aaron O'Toole was. They will only ever act against you, and Conservatives have to not try and court legacy media approval. If you push back on them, you'll actually probably get far more people who even watch those channels on your side. Because even somebody sitting at home watching CTV News every night, when they see a lot of these questions that are asked to people like Poilievre, or these clips being spliced out of context, the back of their mind subtly tells them that this isn't right. And when you vocalize it, it kind of makes that final connection there. But anyways, see you guys later.